You see that yellow tree over there? Awesome fall foliage. Well, that is the third largest ginkgo tree in all of Japan. And yes, it is on the next valley over from where I live here on Shikoku Island. Not like that's going to affect today's cigar review in any way. Just being that this is the Claro Outdoor Adventure Smoking Series, I figured it might be a fun little piece of trivia to get you started with, in case you were wondering what the hell this sucker is. Now, this tree is a pretty big deal for us locals up here in the mountains of Kamiyama. The government provides, a festival as well as all sorts of different signage. And right now, as you can see behind me, flags to promote it so you know where it is. And they go all the way down the road a good half kilometer or so. So leading people up here. And usually there are a ton of people out here getting photos and imageries and stuff like that and having picnics and what have you. But being that today is a weekday in the middle of the morning, everyone's at work. So there really isn't anyone up here, making this locale ideal for today's cigar review, which is also kind of a big deal in its own unique way. Here we have the Curivari Buenaventura in Maduro form. While Curivari has been making the Buenaventura line for quite some time, this new Maduro version forgoes a Nicaraguan wrapper and the Puro approach and goes with a San Andres Maduro wrapper instead. But the filler and binder side of it remain the same, so presumably they are the Criollo and Corojo Cuban seed ingredients that, well, Curivari is known for. The Vitola we sell here at Claro is the BV560, so 5.5 inches long with a 56 ring gauge. Being that this is a Curivari product, it is triple capped and softly box pressed as well. It's a nice chocolatey colored cigar too, not too dark, a little bit of oil to the wrapper, and all around nicely produced. I have detected one slight soft spot right above the band, but outside of that, everything on the cigar is very tidy. There's some notable veins, but it's Maduro, no surprise there, and I just like the way it looks. It's kind of got this old school chocolate bar wrapper look to the band as well. Curivari launched this Maduro version at the PCA 2023 trade show, very quietly at that. No one really made a big fuss about it. Half Wheel made a quick little blurb, and that was pretty much it. And from what I've been able to glean online, we might be one of the first ones to be doing a review of this cigar, more or less a video review. Now, before we start the actual review process, there's one more thing I need to make mention of about the cigar, and that is its value. These suckers are priced at $33.80 a 5-pack at Claro, which for a Gordo Vitola is outstanding value for what you get. And having smoked one of these prior to this review, I can attest that this is going to be a good one, y'all. Now, unlit impressions on the nose are your typical milk cocoa and a little bit of espresso bean and a hefty dose of vanilla as well. There's some baking spice, a little bit of nutmeg that makes me think of, eggnog or holiday cheer. And there is a hint of white pepper behind that. Very appetizing aromatic. The barrel, though, is a little more leathery, a little drier, and not as forward as the foot. Go figure. Since this is a softbox press cigar and a Gordo, so larger ring gauge, I will be punching it to control flow, as well as, well, keep a whole bunch of tobacco out of my pie hole. Punch it, and excellent draw already. This was a good call. Note to y'all, punch it or V-cut it. Don't go with a double guillotine or a straight cut. It'll just be too much. Cold draws are wonderful on this cigar. A little bit more of a darker chocolate flavor than unlit impressions. Loads of vanilla. And a little bit of like a chestnut taste, like roasted chestnuts behind that. I'm looking forward to this one all over again. So let's get to it, shall we? Literally translated, Buenaventura means good luck in Spanish. But for us Americans, can't help but hear Ventura and think of, well, Jim Carrey being that wacky guy chasing around pets as a pet detective.
Alrighty then.
I don't think I'll need any luck enjoying this cigar. I just need to have, well, olfactory senses in check and ready to rock, and off we go. Let's start with a few initial impressions. Peppery, very much so. This is a Corojo filler binder combo with a good bit of Criollo thrown in as well. So expect earthy, peppery, little spicy at first. But those earthy and peppery notes die back very quickly, and you're left with a very milk cocoa mocha-ish experience, which I like, especially with a mocha to go with it on a Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Now, Curivari markets this brand new Maduro as one that is medium, depending on, well, your palate and sensitivity to Maduro and heavily fermented tobaccos. I personally find it medium. You may find it to be more medium full, at least in strength. Body as well, but flavor profiles, again, I'm just feeling more medium, especially at this point in the first third, which we should probably discuss at this point. For me, I'm finding that the second stick is a little bit more baking spice forward than the first blend that I had, which was more of the milk chocolate approach. This is a little bit surprising to me because I expected it to, again, be chocolatey, chocolatey, chocolatey. It's not to say that it's not still very milk chocolate and a little mocha-ish, but a little bit more of that nutmeg, a little bit more of the allspice. Again, think eggnog with milk cocoa mixed in for good measure. With the first third ending, a woodiness comes forth, not cedar, more of just a light, dry wood flavor that is reminiscent of freshly felled chestnut trees. I don't know how many of y'all have ever chopped down a chestnut tree, but here in Japan, they're everywhere. And they make for pretty good barbecue smoking wood. So I do actually tend to know what this type of wood smells and I guess tastes like, which is kind of what I'm getting right now. It's very pleasant. It's again smoky in the like a barbecuey sense, and a little bit intense, but with the flavor profiles of milk cocoa transitioning more toward a darker chocolate note right now, and the espresso bean flavors intensifying, it really works very well. While we're down here underneath this massive ginkgo tree, take note of the root system. Crazy looking. It's like this stalactite, stalagmite, whatever you call them, looking thing where this lower branch down here on this end just kind of sent off these shoots and it's just slowly growing down and then rotting away. And I mean, it's just crazy looking. Pretty neat, actually. One of my favorite aspects of this tree. Right here in the heart of this stick, this blend really seems to hit its stride and reach that equilibrium that we all seek within a premium cigar blend. All the nut flavors and wood-like tannins, chocolatey notes, espresso bean undertones, Criollo earthiness, Corojo spice, and that San Andres Maduro wrapper kind of tango. And this is the best part of the cigar. It's the best in the other stick I smoked. It's tasting fantastic in this one. And I get a feeling that you too will more than likely appreciate it when you get to smoke. The second third of this cigar makes me think a lot about this tree behind me. It's big, it's bold, it's round, and it's memorable. There's nothing that different from the core part of the cigar I just made mention of, at least in the flavor profile perspective, but the body has increased to more of a medium full than just a flat medium. And by flat, I don't mean that it's flat, it's actually very round. But what happens at this point in the cigar is there's a little bit of a toasted nuttiness that harkens back to that chestnut flavor from earlier, where it was chestnut wood prior. Now it's actually roasted chestnuts. So, well, with eggnog, roasted chestnuts over an open fire, anyone? Whew, why not? The final third of this cigar moves toward a heavy transition, and heavy in the sense of mocha heaviness. It's far more dark than before. It's far more chocolate forward than before. And the espresso bean notes have a notable uptick in flavor. Body is still very medium to medium full maximum, and there is no real bitterness to the cigar, which is kind of nice in a darker Maduro smoke. Speaking of smoke, draw continues to rule. I love that I punched it this time. Much more control than before when I cut the first stick. And on top of that too, I haven't really had any major burn issues. Yes, the lines have been quite wavy, but I haven't had to do any touch-ups at all. The ash has been pretty hefty and does tend to drop, but hey, cigars do that sort of thing. Heat is another consideration with the cigar, in that, well, it's not a consideration. May it be via fingertips or your palate, I don't detect really any heat from the cigar, which is nice considering that it's a 56 ring gauge and has the tendency to build a hell of a cherry. Very well constructed cigar, Curivari. The final third's transition into parting puffs brings with it a dryness and a faint nuttiness as well. Nothing unpleasant, but the flavors are beginning to mellow out and let you know that it's time to wrap things up. So, in wrapping things up, it's time for a review. This cigar is awesome for those who are in search of a breakfast or, in my case, brunch cigar, and who enjoy pairing cigars with coffee in particular. It's got a lot of characteristics that make it approachable for medium cigar fans and Maduro fans, but it also has just enough complexity and differentiation between it and the Cafe Noir to make it stand out. Also, this smoke punches well above its price point of $33.80 a 5-pack. It's kind of tough to beat for the money in that sense. And it makes you kind of wonder, what's Curivari doing though? Are they going to cannibalize sales from the Cafe Noir with this? I don't know what their margins are, but I mean, if they're making more off Cafe Noir, why roll something else that could eat into profits? But that's for Curivari to worry about. For us, our only concern is that it's a fantastic blend. It tastes good, it burns great, it doesn't need any touch-ups, and it's a lot of tobacco for the money. So being that it does offer an excellent price point, I have to bump it up from a 4.2 out of 5, which was what I originally was going to rate it, to a 4.4 out of 5. Those extra 2 points come purely from its value. Wonderful smoke for the money and a whole ton of tobacco for that chunk of change you'll be coughing up for a fiver. So, you want to try something new, something a little bit off the beaten path, this Maduro delivers and then some. And if you are as fortunate as I and have a great place to smoke, take it outdoors.